wow, 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 wow. Wow, 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 wow. What's up, everybody? One of my Bet Parks parlay of the day. So every day we do a parlay. And my leg of the parlay today was the Heat Celtics. And I took the Celtics on the money line. It was like minus 455. They're losing by 14 points right now. I think it's safe to say that my parlay is gonna lose. Yeah. Oh, they're down by 8 now. Maybe they're coming back. John marks the spot. Delco Steve is in the house. Delco Steve, hello.
What up?
What is up? When is the baby due? I was just thinking about this before we went on. Soon?
July.
Okay, that's right.
We still got a little bit of time.
I didn't remember if it was May or because I have 2 babies in July, but I was thinking like, I think it's actually right around their birthday. All right, so you're good. July. But that means you're about to enter the 3rd trimester soon.
Yeah.
Soon.
Yeah, it's getting there.
What's up, Delco Steve?
Nothing much, man. Living the dream.
Yeah, you at the gym today doing your workout?
Yeah, epically failing. Just failing all this week at the gym. Freaking bullshit.
But you're still going to the gym. That's a win, right?
Yeah, it was 1 rep week, and I totally have shit the bed.
What does that mean? 1 rep week?
Like 1 rep max, trying to do better, up your 1 rep.
So you're trying to bench like 400 pounds one time instead of.
I was trying to get 315. I failed at 300 today.
Oh man!
And my best is 305. So we're going backwards. And then on Monday I failed 415 squat. So that was
holy Christ, man! No, thank you.
Yeah, it didn't feel good.
I was running. So I'm doing Wednesdays and Sundays at Orange Theory, and there's obviously no heavy weights that I'm doing. Like you're doing almost like CrossFit, aren't you? You doing? Yeah, you're doing that. See, I don't have time for that. You lunatics. You guys are crazy.
I call it CrossFitty because I'm not doing the real crazy shit.
It's the Delaware County version of CrossFit, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh well, I was thinking about I was in the King of Prussia Mall over the weekend, and I thought about you because I walked past the piercing pagoda.
You didn't start handing out my number, did you?
I did not. I did not go up and see if the piercing pagoda.
I did get a random phone. I did get a random text number the other day saying, "Hey, how are you?" So you could be lying to me.
And you did not do. And you did not reply back? I
did not. It was
no
347 something area code or something.
That's Manhattan. That's New York City. 347.
Never would have known it.
Well,
why do you know that?
because I used to work customer service and I know area codes. When you work customer service, you get callers from all over the place.
So if I give you a random city, you could just give me an area code.
It depends. If it was this was a while ago that I did this, we're talking like 20 years ago is when I worked doing customer service, but I'm still very much like a weird numbers person. So like, yeah, 412-724 is Pittsburgh. New York City 347-718-212. The original is 212. It's like the 215. 732 is Northern New Jersey. 609-856. Delaware's 302. Maryland's 410, and they have some weird, like a newer, like it's not 223, but it's something like that. West Virginia 304.
Dude,
Virginia 757-804.
Up there, man.
A ton, brother. Detroit 313.
What's Oklahoma City?
I don't know them. I don't know the ones in the middle of nowhere. Like Chicago is 312 is like the original 215 number, and then they have 773.
What's Dallas?
Man, what would Dallas be? See, it was all about like I worked at a place that had, it was kind of like, we didn't do a lot of Texas, we did a lot of Florida, like 904 is Jacksonville, 305 is Miami. Yeah. Atlanta is 404. Trying to think. So they had, so I worked for this company that I've talked about this before. I worked for this company that had adult telephone lines, right? And
I've never heard this before.
Really? Yeah. So it was at the very beginning. It was before there was really, I mean, there was internet porn, but not like it is now. And so I originally, and this is pre 9/11. So I back then when you needed a job, you looked in the Philadelphia Inquirer. So like the Sunday Inquirer had a big job section. So I was living in the city and I found a job as a customer service. I had previously worked for the phone company. So like I had customer service experience. It paid relatively well considering. So I went for the interview and it was for this company that owned adult telephone lines and websites, but really their money was in the adult telephone lines.
Did you talk dirty to people?
No, but they were on the fourth. They were on the fourth floor, or were we on the? They were on the third floor. We were on the fourth floor. So they had a boiler room of girls on the third floor. And they were like, and one time I worked overnight shift at one point. I was walking back from the Dunkin' Donuts at like 5:45. And this girl that I used to work with in the Willow Grove Mall, she worked at 9 West. She was hot. And I see her walking. I'm like, geez, like Megan. So we're like walking and we're like walking down Chestnut Street. And she's talking about how she works around the corner. And I'm thinking to myself,
I work around the corner.
Like this is shit. And sure as shit, right up to the building on 7th Street, 106 South 7th Street. And she went right in the door to the third floor. See ya. Yep. So you get, so they had this scam where you had, if you were in the Bell South states, so Memphis 901, Nashville 615. I'm telling you, I know all this stuff for a reason. If you dialed a 3-digit calling code, like 211, 311, 611, it would take you to these local chat lines. So you get these kids and all these people that just go to this is landline days, and they would just dial 211, and then and then the phone bill would come, and it'd be $300 because their kid or somebody was dialing 211 or whatever the 3-digit code was in that city. So I would get the phone calls being like, "Yeah, I got this charge on my phone bill," and then you have to explain to them what it is. They're like, "That's not me." I'm like, "Well."
Yeah, it's somebody else in your house.
It is. So I did that, and then you would also have.
How many marriages do you think you broke up?
I mean, geez, you would definitely get women calling, being like, "What is this on my credit card statement?" Because like you had those were like date and shit. There were like local lines where you would like, I guess, try to meet somebody or talk, but then you had the phone sex lines, and then you had where you're talking to the paid actress, the phone hostess, as they called them in the business. And right. So they were trained to like be actresses. So these women had headphones on, right? And they would get something called a whisper prompt in their ear. So you're talking to the same girl if you're calling like some teen number. It's like, 800 teen girl, or you wanted a dominatrix, or you wanted a, 1-800-P on me is a legitimate call it right now. We could call 1-800-P on me. No, I'm going to call it right now.
I'm so good.
and it's, I don't know if it's still, I'm assuming it's still there. 1-800-PEEONME. You wonder why I'm so messed up. All right, let's put it on speaker.
Do you get yourself in bill, or does your wife get yourself in bill?
Sorry, I did not understand your response. Please try again. Hi, and thanks for calling TalkToMe.com, home of the hottest girls who want to talk to you about your secrets and fantasies.
Ooh.
I'm sorry, I did not.
All right, so it has a voice problem now, but it used to be where the girl would come on talking about golden showers and stuff like that. It's like, Jesus Christ. So yeah, so the girl gets the whisper prompt in her ear, like triple X, teen, BDSM, and then they would have to play the part because the guy is looking in a magazine. I don't know where he's finding it, but he's finding this number, and he's like, "Oh, I want to call it dominatrix." You're talking to the same chick in Philly that's on the third floor of this building on Chestnut Street, as if you called looking to talk to a teen chick. So yeah, it was really screwed up after working there for a while.
I was saying, how long did you do that? I was just about to ask you, how long did you do that?
I worked there for like 2 years, and then I moved to Hawaii. And then when I moved back and I was going to Temple, I worked the overnight shift. So I would work 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. I'd be on for 4 days and then off for 3 days. And then I would work it 3 days and be off for 4 days. So the course of 2 weeks, I'd work 7 12-hour shifts. And yeah, like I was making, I made double of what I made in radio when I got my first full-time job in radio. Doing that customer service overnights, I was making like 60 grand in 2004 with benefits and everything else. But
did you get to use the services for free?
You become numb to it. So after I moved back from Hawaii, it's when they really got into the online porn. They were trying to build these websites and they just couldn't figure it out. So they bought some website that was a pay per minute thing or whatever. But like I didn't enjoy that era of it. I enjoyed the phone part of it because you're really like, there's an 800 number that's for customer service. And there's people out there that think when they call that number, they're going to talk to some woman. So when they call and you answer and you have caller ID, so, they try calling back. So you're getting people that are calling from all over the place at all hours. So there you go. Yeah, it was an interesting job. Yes. And yeah, while I was making 30 grand, Mike was making, Mike didn't make 700 grand until later on. When he first came to 950 AM in 2008, he was not making that big money. He had to more or less bet on himself because he was coming off getting fired from WIP and he was working in New York or whatever. So he was not making that big money right then. But there you go. Yep. Yeah. It was a really, really effed up job after a while. You're like, I need to get out of this. So I was there for like 2 years ago in a Temple, and I had a girlfriend that I lived with, and she was crazy, and she punched me in the face and split my lip. And like, I had to get out of there because the cops showed up. This was in Philly. Like the cops were showing up. I could see like the car coming in the parking lot because she was going crazy, and I had to like run out the back door, and it was a lot. That was it. After that, I just kind of quit. I'm like, I can't do this. I'm moving back in with my parents, and I'm quitting this job. And I quit the job. So.
Not looking back.
No. Yeah. So it was over. Yeah. So anyway, yeah. So a lot going on. Did the Phillies end up holding on tonight and winning?
They last time I checked, they're up 5-1. They won.
Okay.
5-1.
It was 2-1 last night. It was the 7th inning when trying to get these damn kids down. Wednesday night is softball night, which means we don't get back till late. And they're a pain in my ass. Did it go final? It went final 5-1. Put one in the win column for your fighting Phils. No home runs tonight.
Great start to the season so far.
Hell yeah, man. Yeah, like Phillies fans are being bratty. And I get it. I mean, I wasn't like overly excited to start the season. I was excited, but I wasn't overly excited based on the way the season ended the last 2 years. But I knew that they still have a 90+ win team, and they're going to be really good. So,
I mean, there was no really acquisitions that would get you psyched. So,
right.
Like Luzardo's good.
Yeah. But it's not a Trey Turner or a big name like that, which
no.
Wheeler went 7 innings, no walks, 10 strikeouts, just gave up that one home run. God, he's good. Bullpen looked good, 5-1. Phils have a getaway game tomorrow. They don't get away, the Rockies do, but it's a 105 start. Taijuan Walker on the mound for the Phils.
Oy vey.
So this is that you win 2 or 3, you lose tomorrow.
Oh, it's
Scheduled loss.
Bet the Rockies over. I'm not saying they're gonna lose, but at least the first 5 over, something like that.
Yep. And then the Dodgers come into town this weekend. This is a good series too. Yamamoto against Luzardo Friday night, and then you have Nola and Sasaki, their new pitcher, Saturday, and then Chris Sanchez pitches against Tyler Glasnow on Sunday.
Oh, that's gonna be a good one.
Dodgers are undefeated too. Did they lose last night, or are they still?
No, they won. They came back and won.
They came back and won.
They were down 1-0 and they won. But they were down 3-0 last time I looked tonight.
Padres are 7-0. Dodgers are 7-0.
Yeah, that division's off to a hot start.
Holy cow! Braves are 0-6.
Gotta love it. You gotta love it.
Giants are 5-1. Yeah, so it's been a interesting start to the season. The Dodgers are down 5-1 tonight. Still early to the Braves, as the Braves have not had an easy start. So yeah, they haven't won a game. I wouldn't expect the Braves to be in the basement of the NL East in a couple weeks. I hope they are.
Oh, I hope they're there the rest of the season.
Well, listen, the big news in the sports world again is the Philadelphia Eagles, Delco Steve.
This is like comical at this point.
Yep, it is. The NFL has decided that they want to end the tush push because the Eagles are so dominant and there's no answer to it. They can't be stopped. So it's pretty clear that Roger Goodell has given the eye wink to Rich McKay, who is the head of the competition committee, and they knew they couldn't get it done this time, so they took it off the table. They are going to rewrite it, and they're going to come up with it to where they can get 24 votes, and the tush push, as we know it, I believe, is over, and you will not be able to do it this year. Maybe they're able to have it again this year, but I think that they come up with a rule that they're going to get enough people to say, yes, let's ban that. And then it's over.
I don't see how they come up with a solution to ban the play without just banning pushing players forward with the ball, period. Because I was talking about the other day, if you make it like, oh, like if it's directly after the snap, like, all right, you just do a little hesitation step and then go, like that. It's not directly after the snap. It's like, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of maneuvering or a lot of wording that wouldn't work for them to make it be completely banned per se.
I just don't think you're going to be able to push or pull any offensive player.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So, but then you're going to get to the point where it's like, oh, you get the guy who doesn't go down and he's got
the piles being pushed. Yeah.
And then the whole offensive line comes up behind him. And it's like, I don't know. It's just like, leave it be. It's just so simple. It's like, and it's not like it's like everyone talks about like, oh, it's not a football play. It's not a football play where like, it doesn't look great.
Blah,
like,
blah, blah, blah.
Exactly. It's all bullshit, but
blah, blah, blah.
But there's no other teams that are running it to the extent that we're running it. So it's, if every team was running it 50 times a year, then yeah, I could see how it would get monotonous and paint like, all right, we don't want to see this anymore. But there was 2 teams that ran it over 5 times. And speaking of which, Sean McDermott is a freaking weasel.
Yeah, he's weird, man. That whole thing was weird.
It's just, you're the only other team in the league that ran it over 5 times, and then you're going to come out here and say, oh, it's about player safety. If you're all about player safety, don't you care about your players more than any other in the league? So why are you having your guys run it if you care about if you say it's a player safety issue?
Right. Well, I mean, it's pretty clear that it's not, right?
Exactly.
And then you're getting all right, well, but we're looking ahead. Like we're trying to be like, all right, we know nobody's been injured so far, but we believe that there will be injuries. It's only a matter of time. So like they've decided that's what they're going to do. Matt LaFleur, when he spoke the other day, he gave it's not a football play, it's a rugby play and injuries. It's like they gave him a card before he went on with the media and they said, here are your 3 things that you can say about the tush push because you're going to be asked about it. And he hit him within the first 10 or 15 seconds of what he was saying. So, I mean, because here's the reality of it. And it really is, it isn't unfair because the Eagles aren't doing anything wrong. And it actually is a football play. This whole thing that it's not a football play. If you took every one of the Eagles tush pushes that they did Not like how many of them are actually where you have this big pile and they're pushing them forward. Most of them are Jalen Hurts is already going forward and they just run up behind him and they shove him even further and it's a touchdown. It's not like that they're picking him up every time and they're carrying him into the end zone or whatever, right? Like let's get real here. But there's no other team that is built. There's no other team that is built to run the play like the Eagles are. Because Josh Allen, while the Bills have done it, Josh Allen's too big. Does that make sense?
Know how to run it. He's like he just like goes off to the left every time.
Right. Now, like he's 6'5", so he's too big. Jalen Hurts is the perfect height. He's like 6'2". We know that he's built perfectly for it. He's just trying to get a little bit lower than the defense. And then he's the 600-pound squat guy. So he's strong, right? And then you have the offensive line. They had the biggest offensive line in the history of the Super Bowl. The Eagles did. The biggest offensive line. That's by design. So Becton leaves, but now they just have another big guy they're going to put in there. So you have a quarterback that's able to do it, that's willing to do it, and is built to do it. And you have an offensive line that is built to do it. What other quarterback in the NFL wants to do the tush push as a signature move on offense? Seriously. And I'll give you the answer. There isn't anybody. Outside of Josh Allen that's done it, and you can go and you can look. So I did it today, and I said, you know what? I'm not going to go through every team. I'm just going to stop right now because there isn't anybody. Tua is not doing it.
I was just trying to think of a player that's somewhat built like Jalen, but like there's no one else like in the league anymore. Like if you had Cam Newton still, I feel like he'd be like, or like if Jamarcus Russell was good kind of guy.
Right. So Lamar Jackson is not a big guy. He's not looking to do a quarterback sneak. He just runs for touchdowns.
Well, the Ravens ran it with Mark Andrews how many times?
Yes, they did. Yeah, that's true. Mark Andrews was their guy. Yep.
Yeah, they would do the, and it's like, yeah, we want to talk about like being like annoying with it. Like, oh, it's motion 6 guys around.
Right.
And then, Mark Andrews is going to sneak under center and do it. It's like, at least ours is straightforward. We line up and we run it.
Is Anthony Richardson, is he built? He gets injured all the time. He's not.
I would say he's the right size player you're looking for to do it, but he's made of glass.
Yeah. And he's jacked, but I don't know if he's seriously.
He's probably too tall too. He's a tall dude.
Dak could be a guy but he wants to throw for 5 touchdowns against bad teams, right? Dak doesn't want to do that. Like quarterbacks don't want to do this play. Jalen Hurts wants to do it. There's nobody in the NFL that wants to do this play. So you look at it, you're like, all right, they're built to do it. It can't be stopped. And there's only one team that wants to do it. So they want it banned. Here is where I will agree with the NFL in what they're doing. And the NFL right now, this has absolutely zero to do with injury. That's just something that these teams are putting out there. This has zero to do with injury. What Washington did last year in the NFC Championship game, if you think about it, Delco Steve, what were they doing? They were at the 1-yard line, right? And if the Eagles score a touchdown there, the game's over. So what are they doing? Well, they're trying to time the snap. They're trying to jump off sides because there's a couple things that can happen for the Eagles. They can have a false start, and then now they go back to the 6-yard line. They could fumble the ball, or they could stop the quarterback from getting the run, right? So there's 3 scenarios more or less that could happen. Well, the worst that Washington could have been penalized was what, a half of a yard or a quarter of a yard or an eighth of a yard. So what do they care? It's a cheat code. They have no chance of stopping it, especially if it's on 1st or 2nd down. So what do? You're desperate. You try anything. So what were teams going to do against the Eagles if they know it's at the 1-yard line and they can't stop it? Well, why not act a fool? And who cares if they say, we're going to give them a touchdown if you keep doing it?
Yeah, they were going to score anyway.
Right. So what do they care? So if you have teams that now are going to say, hey, we're just going to muddy this up and make it look really bad and just commit penalty after penalty after penalty, maybe try to hurt the quarterback during it, the NFL can't have that. So I think this was a preemptive strike by the NFL to kind of see what Washington did, and they got worried about it.
Wouldn't you rather, like, if that was the case, though, if they just came out and said, like, this is why, and it'd be like, okay, fine, we're done with it. Like, then stop with, like, just come out and say it and stop with the bullshit and let's just call it a day. If that's the reason, that's the reason. And I'm actually more okay with it if that's the reason than, oh, you're giving me this excuse and that excuse and that excuse, and it's just like it's all BS.
Yep. The whole thing's BS. Every lad, the Sean McDermott thing was weird. Elliott did a great job. I don't know if you saw it, Delco Steve.
I did.
He was professional, but he pushed him on it. I mean, McDermott looked like an idiot after that line of questioning. It's like, what are you talking about?
I love that we run a version of it. It's like, no, yeah, you run a C- version of it because no one on your team apparently knows what to do.
Right.
It's if you ran the same version as us, you probably would have gotten your fourth down against the Chiefs.
It would have been in the Super Bowl.
And would have been in the Super Bowl.
Exactly right.
So, that's like, it's like if he actually successfully ran that play, he wouldn't want to ban it today.
And then why would you? And then I heard Jeffrey Lurie, and I love Jeffrey Lurie. This isn't a criticism of him, but he was defending it, and he was talking about how it's a precision play and the amount of time and the amount of attention to detail that they use and everything else. And it's like, so let's keep this real. And I'm not telling you they don't practice it and everything else, and give the Eagles credit. They figured something out that nobody can stop, which is impressive. This isn't some precision play. They have like literally maybe some of it's luck, but they have a play that no one can stop. And so now that the league is going to have to come up with a way to stop it, which is to ban it. And by the way, Delco Steve, just because they're going to stop it from being aided by pushing them, do you really think the Eagles are going to stop running a quarterback sneak? Because that's what this is. It's a quarterback sneak.
If they ban it, I'm already just thinking about, I want 3 guys instead of the triangle behind the quarterback. I want 2 guys behind the guards, and they're just pushing the guards instead of Jalen. And then you have like a running back as a safety valve in case of a ball squirting out or something like that.
Yeah. So what's the success rate of the Tush Push? Is it like 95% or something like that? 90%,
28 and 34, I think, this year.
Is that what it was?
Yeah. So that's.
See, all this for 34 freaking plays over an entire season, 34 plays.
Yeah. So it's probably like 90.
So that's 82%, which really isn't. Hold on a second. Tush Push percentage. Eagles 81%. Yeah, you're right. 39 of 48 in 2024. In 2023, it was 88.1%. And then in 2022, it was 92%.
Well, I also feel like as the years have gone on, we've gotten to the point where we just do it for the sake of doing it. It's like, all right, it's 3rd and 2.
Yes, it's the push, yeah.
And then, it's the end of the game. Let's just do it. See if we get the first down or get close. And then I was actually going to ask you that. Of the 6 unsuccessful attempts, how many of them of those 6 do you think came on 3rd down?
And then they got it on 4th. Yeah, no,
like did it again and did it on 4th down. Yeah.
If it's 2nd or 3rd down, even if they don't get it that first time, they're getting it the second time. No, all of them, or maybe like I can remember 2 this year they didn't get it done.
I can't remember like a turnover on downs off of it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So
or like an unsuccessful touchdown because of it.
Yeah. So what the Eagles are just going to do a sneak, and it's probably going to have a similar success rate. And then what are you going to do? You can't run that anymore. That's not a football play. Before Joe Pisarcik fumbled the handoff to Larry Zonka and Herman Edwards picked it up, the miracle of the Meadowlands, they didn't do the victory formation. You know why? It wasn't a football play. Because teams wanted to do it, and it was looked down upon like, no, you don't do that. That's not a football play, right? Like, guess what? The victory formation is a football play. You know what it means? That we won the game. You can't stop the clock. You have no timeouts left, so shove it. The game's over. You can't stop it. But back then, not a football play. Like, the game evolves. Right? Like this whole rugby scrum. Go tell Jordan Mailata it's a rugby scrum, man. Go tell him this is rugby. He'll hang in a locker.
I'm good.
Unbelievable. Yeah, but
I wouldn't say it to the smallest guy on the offensive line, let alone to Mailata.
No, but Mailata's a rugby player.
I know. I'm just what I'm saying. I'm saying, yeah, I'm not gonna. Yeah, he's a rugby player and he's 6'8".
6'8".
Yeah, I wouldn't say it to the guy who's 6'1", 330, let alone that guy.
Because I asked him. We had him for a weekly interview. I guess it was the last year I was at WIP, and we were the first person to ask him about the Tush Push, and he was so mad when I had said a lot of people are saying it's a rugby play, and he cut me off and he made it very clear this is not a rugby play, and he was insulted that people say it's a rugby play. He's like, this is not a rugby play. So I'm like, that sounds good to me, man. Like, yeah, I don't know what the hell it is. All I know is it works. So anyway.
Whatever it is. I don't care if it's a softball play, volleyball play, whatever. If it's getting me a first down, I'm okay with it.
Nice. Yep, me too. All right, well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But so they'll meet in May and it'll be over with. And I think that
I want to know, like, how do they like? All right, great. They're going to do it in May. What are they going to do to convince the other 8 and the other 8 teams to switch their vote? And then who's the final say in the vote? Because they always say like the competition committee, and then it's like an owners, and then you got talking about the other coaches from the Eagles that are now head coaches.
Well, it's an organizational thing. So I guess it depends on if you have an owner that's like, yeah, like my GM and coach can decide on that. Maybe some owners have more say than others, right? Like I don't know if Robert Kraft of the Patriots is getting involved with the Tush Push band. That's probably Mike Vrabel. Sean McVay, I'm sure, is the one that's deciding with their general manager as well. So you would think that an organization like the Colts with Shane Steichen and a GM, Chris Ballard, that has done business with Howie. But like, it's so political. If the NFL wants something pushed through, things normally get pushed through. And if that means like, hey, listen, I need you on this. We need your vote. It's just like with any type of politics. It's like, we'll get you later on or whatever. So you write the rule and you say, what does the rule need to look like for you to vote yes? And at some point you just got to kind of be like, give up and say it's a matter of when, not if they're going to ban this. It's getting banned, whether it's in May when they come back and they try to cook up a rule to vote on, but it feels like it's over, Delco Steve.
Well, we got a Super Bowl out of it. I'm okay with it.
Yeah. Like, at this point, I just give up. Other new NFL rules. What do you think of the new touchback rule? You know it?
Yeah, out to the 35
35-yard line.
I don't know. I thought the 30 was ridiculous. It's just like at this point, I did have somebody say to me recently, though, that if you kick the ball out of bounds, you get it on the 40.
Right.
So if you kick it into the end zone, it's the same thing as kicking it out. It's almost the same thing of kicking it out of bounds.
So like, here's my question. A touchback at the 30 was not enough of a deterrent for teams not to just kick it as far as they can, right? Because like for the most part, teams are like, no, the hell with it. I don't care. Start at the 30. Is the 35-yard line enough of a deterrent to try to kick it in the field of play? I don't know.
Well, I feel like it has to be, because you see coaches freak out when the kicker kicks it out of bounds and that's at the 40. So what's the difference of 5 yards?
So they're obviously they're trying to get more returns in the game because they think it can be a dynamic play. So the NFL they're hoping that in 2025, you'll get between 60 and 70% returns. And that's not what they got in the first year. So they're hoping that they can get more.
Why don't they just do the same thing they're doing with the Tush Push and be like, hey, guys, we're not going to change the touchback rule, but we need you to be returning 50%. You need to be putting 50% of your kicks into the field of play. I don't know. It just seems so unnecessary. I don't know. They just go back to the old kickoff, move the line back. Don't let the kickers kick it out of to the point where they can kick it out of the back of the end zone. Whatever. I'm never going to be happy with the kickoff.
Start kicking from the 25-yard line if you want guys to return kicks, right?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, isn't that where they were before? Wasn't that the original kickoff line, or was it the 30? Because they moved that up too.
I think they moved it back though.
Or because they did move it back.
Yeah, because all these kickers, like a 60-yard field goal is like an old 50-yard field goal. It seems like everybody can hit a 60-yard field goal in a game.
Yep.
So I don't know. Also, the overtime rule. Now both teams will get a possession, but it is only a 10-minute period. So like sometimes if you're the second team to get it, you get an 8-minute drive by the team before you. You don't have a lot of time left. They were originally talking about going to 15-minute overtime, but they couldn't get that pass, so they went to 10 minutes. But both teams guaranteed a possession regardless, which I'm all for.
I think you're getting a lot more ties now, especially if the team if like same scenario you just laid out, like, oh, a team eats up 8 minutes, gets down to the 10 and can't score. Okay,
Yeah, if they
field
score a
goal.
touchdown, there's not a third possession. No one's getting a touchdown or a field goal.
Right. So it's like,
Yes.
all right, yeah, you score with minute 50 left, kick a field goal with minute 50 left. Well, now the team's just in 2-minute drive to kick a field goal to get a tie game.
Pretty much.
I don't know. I feel like the NFL is so jumped the shark with their overthinking of everything. I mean, and that's just been Goodell's whole tenure as commissioner.
Pretty much. What else? They're still gonna have the chain gang, but they're gonna use the camera-based technology to measure first downs, which is like the fact they were still using the chains as the primary way to measure first downs in 2025 with all the technology would be kind of crazy. So they're still going to be out there, but still.
These old men need to stop getting their legs snapped by flying football players coming at them.
Yeah, the 70-year-old guy that has no way to protect himself. I love this one.
I hate to laugh at it, but it's always funny when they get taken out.
Well, yeah, it is because they go flying. I love this replay assist. It expands. So now they can't call a penalty, but they can pick up a flag, right? So grabbing the face mask, hits on defensive players, horse collar tackles, tripping, running into or roughing the kicker. The review process cannot be used to throw a flag, only pick up the flag that has already been thrown. So flags thrown. It's like, well, that was not a face mask. That's bullshit, right? They can go, the replay assist can go and be like, yeah, that wasn't a face mask. Pick up the flag. Pick up the flag.
Yeah, but it's so much worse the other way around. There was how many plays in the beginning of last season? There was like at least 3 weeks in a row where someone got their face mask yanked around and the guy who's staring right at them missed it. That's what you need. You need to be able to have the flag thrown. Like I don't need the ticky-tack, like grasp, let go. I need Sam Darnold getting his head snapped around in the end zone against the Rams.
Yeah.
And they, get turnover on downs inside the 5-yard line.
Yep.
It's like, come on. It's just, I need, like, how hard is it to have the guy who's put an extra man in the crew just over, like, in the stadium, in a press box, wherever, I don't care where, just being like, oh, I literally watched this. It was the most blatantly obvious thing ever. You should have called that. Like, throw the flag.
Well, I hope that's where it gets too. It's right. Because why wouldn't you? If you have an official that has a monitor and state-of-the-art replay right in front of them, you can be watching the game in real time and be like, whoa, you missed that. Yeah. How do you miss that? Hey, ref on the field, slow play this. I want to get another look at this. Oh yeah, that's a face mask. All right, you gotta call timeout. If they have to come and look at it to confirm it or whatever, but they shouldn't even need to do that. It's an official.
I want the head official to be that guy. I don't even need him on the field. Right. I don't even need him on the field. I want him to be like, no, like I'm taking final call of this right now. This is this.
No, I agree with you. The head official should be in the booth overseeing everything because they're down on the field. They're old. The speed of the game. You know what I mean? Like it's easy. I guess it's easy to miss it if you're some of these old guys.
There's some though, like that Darnold one in particular. There's a picture of the dude staring directly at the quarterback.
I don't know how he missed it.
And he's just like, okay,
yep,
like whatever.
Yep. Yeah, Howard did break his leg over on the sidelines. Who was it that broke his leg? A wide receiver, I think, came barreling into him.
He fits the demographic of what we're talking about.
Was it his Alshon? No, it was. And then because he showed me his X-ray because we were making fun of him, and he's like, "My leg's broken." He had the X-ray in his phone. He's like, "Here's the X-ray," and I'm like, "Oh."
Is it like snapped? Like snap?
I don't know. It's like a hairline fracture or something.
Ah, okay.
But yeah, it was the same way the chain gang goes down. He's walking around with his Beats headphones in his Vans, and yep. I don't remember when it was. I could probably find it right now. He took a shot. Howard Eskin broken leg. I don't even know if it. I don't know. It's not as easy to find as I thought. But yeah, he took a shot. Howard Eskin. All right. So any other rule changes here? The Vince, I think Vince pointed this out as well. They can wear Kelly Green 4 times now.
The fact that that has to be regulated is just ridiculous to me.
Yeah.
Like the same thing with
to.
the helmets, like for all those years, and you can only have one primary helmet, and this, that, like let the team let it be like college where you have as many jerseys as you want and wear them as often as you want.
Yeah, what the hell?
What does it really affect? If anything, you're going to make more money because you're selling more jerseys.
Delco, Steve, you can't even wear socks in if somebody died in your family, you want to wear special socks or whatever, they'll fine you for it.
Oh, that was
come on.
It's not even the special socks. It's you have to wear them the exact correct way. It's I don't know.
Yep.
Like dudes get fined every week for the way they wear their socks.
Yep. What's some other things that are going on here? Back to baseball, torpedo bats. Your thoughts on the torpedo bat?
I think it's pretty cool. And in all honesty, it's like, hey, if they say it's legal and you're, out thinking the system and coming up with something different, hey, what's the difference?
Yeah, agreed. Oh no, for sure. It's really interesting. I'll be interested to see where it goes from here. If guys start putting up like bigger numbers than normal, if everybody starts going to this bat, I know Bohm was using it pretty much immediately. So I'll be curious to see where it goes from here. But yeah,
we didn't hear about it a lot more last year because apparently guys were, testing it out. I mean, guys on the Yankees were using it last year too. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But no, I think it's pretty cool. I think it's wild that it looks like a freaking bowling pin.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. It is. But I guess I saw, I think it was Stott that was talking about whoever makes his bats, he goes in the off season or maybe even goes in during the season and they have a bat lab. So he sits there and he takes cuts and they're measuring. They're like, all right, well, here's where he typically hits the ball on the bat. So we want to make sure that like there's the most amount of force in that part of the bat. Right. So it really gets into the technology of, all right, well, if he's hitting this and this is really his barrel, this is where we should want it barreled, then let's put the barrel down there. Let's put it in the spot where he hits the ball the most. So I'll be curious. Be curious to see how it ends up working out from here. But yeah, like that came out of nowhere. All of a sudden it's like torpedo bats. What are we talking about?
I wish I knew about it, the first weekend of the season before it happened. So I could have bet the Yankees for a billion runs and home runs and everything. But because, everything's just nuked now.
Yeah. We got one other thing here that I wanted to talk about before we got out of here. Oh, what the hell was it? What'd you think of Jerry Jones's antics in his comments? Did you see them?
I didn't see them, but I heard about them, and it was just like being like, "Oh, I don't even know who the agent is with Michael Parsons," and it's just like,
isn't it? Like, of all the things Jerry said, this might be the dumbest and most idiotic of all of them, and the biggest ego-driven thing. I'm gonna pull up. I found it. Let's do it. No,
he's butchered this 3 off seasons in a row now with giving out mega deals. Or I guess CD and Dak were both last year, but
so and I don't have this cut, but he also said this. He said that he'd rather pay more to wait and make sure
and
that
get it right
than pay early and get it wrong. We're talking about Micah Parsons. What could Micah Parsons possibly do where Jerry Jones would be like, no, actually, we don't want Micah Parsons anymore, so we're going to let him walk, or we're only going to pay $10 million a year. Dak freaking Prescott, his leg snapped in half on the field in a contract season, and he got a contract extension. So if a guy can have a compound fracture, your quarterback, and you still give him the contract he was wanting, like, what do you think Micah Parsons? Do you think Micah Parsons is going to have a bad year? You're almost rooting for him to have a bad year so you don't have to pay him. But
yeah, no matter what, the fall off isn't going to be. He's not going to go from where he is to, I'm trying to think of a scrub defensive lineman off the top of my head. It doesn't matter. It's just like, yeah, he's still going to, even if he doesn't have 10 sacks, he's still going to be an impact player.
He paid extra for CeeDee Lamb. If he would have signed CeeDee Lamb when A.J. Brown signed, when Devontae Smith signed, he would have saved tens of millions of dollars. Same thing with Dak Prescott. Twice Dak Prescott. He's made him go franchise and then final year of a contract. And he kills himself on the cap, and he ends up paying so much more money than if you just would have signed them before. Now it's happening with Micah Parsons. Here's Jerry Jones at the owners' meeting being Jerry Jones.
Are you kidding me? That's just not something that you should worry about. You should be worrying about your ability to make it work, and you should be worried about what the player does. Does he have good enough help? Does he have enough skill to do what you're paying him the money for? The agent is not a factor here, or something to worry about. And I don't know his name. And so my point is that I'm not trying to demean you in any way.
No.
You're not? You're not?
The agent doesn't have one thing to do with what we're doing when we get on a football field against a team. Micah does. To the degree I'm involved, I do. People that have something to do with what we do going forward relative to our fans in football are me and the player, not the agent. And I'm not demeaning the agent. I'm just saying anybody can do this, and that's talk directly to a player. And frankly, most people that negotiate me will tell you that they were better off than negotiating with anybody, Stephen or anybody involved. So this is not uncommon. This directly with as far back as Emmett, Dion, and we, by the way, maintained a relationship that lasted well after their playing days.
Yeah, what could have possibly be wrong with the Cowboys? How have they not won for so many years? Delco Steve.
Yeah, Jerry's definitely lost it. His fastball is gone.
Yeah, he's very much 82 years old, and it's ego with him. You don't negotiate with a player. You have a relationship with the player, right? Like Jerry, he had said in another cut that Micah Parsons is one of only a couple people that have his personal cell phone number. Like Micah Parsons should have a direct line to Jerry Jones, just like Fletcher Cox had a direct line to Jeffrey Lurie, and Donovan McNabb had a direct line to Jeffrey Lurie, and Jason Peters and Brandon Graham, right? Like you have players based on their level of play or what they mean to the organization to have a direct line and relationship to the owner. It doesn't mean he should be negotiating contracts with the player. You do that with the agent. You do that with the agent. But Jerry has to have his hands involved in everything. And he doesn't like it.
And it was say, even it's different for his organization because he's the GM and the owner. It's not like, if Fletcher had a different disagreement with Howie, where he's like, all right, yeah, like I'm reaching out to Jeff to talk about this, this, and this, and this. And because whatever conversation with Howie is going to, it's like, oh, the player's pissed off at the GM. Guess who you get to go talk to? The GM, who's the owner.
Yep. You let the agent and the general manager, and I'm sure Jeffrey Lurie's involved in everything.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Lurie's not claiming to be negotiating with who they just signed, like this, whoever, right? Like Saquon Barkley. Jeff Lurie's not coming out and saying like, I'm the one negotiated that contract. I'm the one that negotiated.
He's okay in everything.
Of course, he's involved in the business as he should be as the owner. Jerry Jones he don't want him involved in anything. He wants to make sure that he gets it right, so he waits. Oh my God, could you imagine? Imagine?
Like Dak, I mean, you got to think they lost almost $15 million per year on Dak's deal.
Yeah,
because it's like if they signed him before Jalen and all them, like that was 45 million-ish. And then like Burrow got 55, and they're like, oh, we got to up it by $5 million. Yep. I mean, I love it. It couldn't be happening to a better organization.
Oh, it's great. It's awesome. The Eagles are absolutely running the NFL. Jeffrey Lurie came out there, asking him about the money he spends, and he says it's always been cash over cap. In other words, like, yeah, I just pay money, and you pay money, the cap's not a real thing. So it's like, yeah, I don't know how to do anything, and I don't know how to do it in any other way. Cash over cap. And it's like, yeah, we've been saying this for years. Jeffrey Lurie spends a ton of money so he can have players. Anybody could do it. Anybody could do it.
Literally,
anybody could do it. Way to go!
It's crazy that it took I know
years.
you and I have talked about this back to when we knew each other at the Fanatic, and that's a long time at this point, and it's just now it's a thing. Now it's a thing.
Yeah, now everybody else realizes it, and like the Bengals are signing 2 wide receivers to big money contract because Joe Burrow is saying to them like, "Yo, I want to do what the Eagles are doing."
Did you see the thing with Hendricks today?
Yeah, he's pissed,
dude. That is I don't know who it was that he was referring to, but that
Katie Blackburn.
Yeah, I don't know her role or whatever, but I was reading her comments and I was just like, oh God, like there's a foot in your mouth kind of situation.
Yeah, she's like a vice president of the Bengals. I don't know if she's like a daughter or somehow involved in the family, but yeah, Blackburn said that she doesn't know if it'll happen and kept the possibility of a trade on the table. Also said that it's on him to be happy at some point, and she thinks he should be happy at the certain rates, and maybe he doesn't think he'd be happy at. So with Hendrickson, because he's 30 or 31, and he's putting up big numbers, but he wants the Micah Parsons contract, and there's nobody in the NFL that wants to give him that because they've went out and they've looked for a trade, and no one's given him because he wants a new contract, and no one's given him $35 or $40 million a year for 4 or 5 years.
Well, the thing I just read was he didn't care about being the highest paid player. He just didn't want to play for incentives.
What he's playing for right now, right?
He's playing for incentives or on a short-term deal. The thing I was reading, he's saying he wanted to be a Bengal for the rest of his career and not be working, like having to prove that he needs to earn the money. And he wanted more than, a 2-year deal.
He doesn't want short-term. He doesn't want incentives. He wants a market rate contract.
So, okay, Myles Garrett got what, $45 million a year? Is that
yeah. I mean, it's really about the guaranteed nut,
right,
or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, you like ballpark to that.
If he comes in at 35, like I think he would be happy with that. He's making 15 now.
Yep.
So, $20 million raise plus being now in the top 5 on defense instead of wherever the hell he is ranked. I feel like that would be a fair deal, but that's, the Bengals aren't forking over that kind of cash.
No, not after paying Jamar Chase and T. Higgins all that money.
Yeah.
See that.
And it's like, I guess the owners in the long run, like when they don't do what Jeffrey does, they get to they put the money in the escrow sort of thing. So they're making money on the money that they're going to be putting.
Yeah, there's
anyway.
It's compounding interest. Yep.
Yeah. So it's like, I don't know. I feel like you're still paying no matter what. You still, I can't talk. I don't know what it's like to have this kind of money and spend it and use it, whatever. But you're spending the money regardless anyway. Why don't you be good and make more money on the back end being good?
Well, I mean, there are teams like the Raiders for a while. They were cash flow poor. They didn't have the money to sign some of these contracts because you had to put it in an escrow. So now that they have a minority owner came in, this billionaire, so they have cash to do it now. They're in Vegas and they have cash to do it. But like, I know everybody looks at these franchises and these owners and be like, they're billionaires, they're $1 billion franchises. All right, you go out in free agency and you sign a couple $100 million contracts, or you sign your own guys to a couple $100 million contracts. That's a lot of money they have to put up front. All these teams may not have all that money liquid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So whatever. F them. Final thing. The Sixers have the 5th worst record in the NBA now, I guess.
They're doing their best to keep that pick.
Boy, are they. Man, this is and they are. And Embiid's going to have knee surgery, and we figured that. But man, they suck. They really, really do. They're trying to lose. I'm glad they are.
It's been bad.
Yep. 9 straight losses. What are they, like 26 of 29 or 25 of 28, something like that?
Of losses?
Yep.
Something ridiculous.
Yep.
I
There
mean,
you go.
I've been enjoying betting on the lower name guys for like 10, 15 points, and somebody has to score.
Yeah, no, for sure. No, just bet against the Sixers and bet one. Like Quentin Grimes, man. People in the offseason are going to be like, just give him a max contract. He's so good. Like,
Dude, him getting rest days was
yeah, that was
I was
insulting.
cracking up. I was just cracking up. And I'm like, just take all the losses for the rest of the year. Why are you even playing the games?
Seriously. Oh well. All right. Oh yeah. Oh, and Tortorella got fired. You're happy
Thank
about
God.
that?
Very. That was such a terrible hire from Jump Street. It never made sense.
It didn't.
It's like he didn't fit what this team was trying to do. And yeah, I understand that they were trying to instill a certain, type of play in these young guys, but you don't need him to do that. Like
The
and
most hated
that,
coach in the NHL.
probably.
Well, he was voted. Bleacher Report did a player survey, and he was like free agent said that they were least likely to want to play for him than anybody.
Yeah, that makes sense because he alienated every player under the age of like 27, or like the guys that are 27 now, like 3 years ago.
Yeah, he's just
actually more than that.
He's just too much of a dick. You can bring him in on a veteran team, and guys will hate him, but he'll light a fire under him. Like I think it makes sense for that.
He's the coach of the team that's like the Hurricanes. Not that the Hurricanes would ever get rid of Rod Brind'Amour, but like they win a round, they flame out. They win 2 rounds, they flame out. It's like a teams with talent and they just can't get over the hump. That's the guy you need. Yeah. It's like the guy that's starting from scratch, and then the ball's on him to go like, oh, I wasn't in the interest of learning how to coach this type of season or this type of team.
That was ballsy, man.
What the hell did you think you signed up for 3 years ago? This team wasn't a playoff contender when you signed on. It's like you were supposed to be building him up, and whatever, dude. It's like, I don't know. The fact that they went 3-0, now that they went 3-0 after they fired him is kind of hilarious because now we want to lose. They were actually in position to be the 4th overall pick. Now I think they're like 7th. But it's a shit show. And it's hilarious to me that the Bruins and the Blackhawks are apparently interested in him as their next head coach. And the Blackhawks are even younger than us. So good luck.
And he'll get fired after 2 seasons and he'll get another job somewhere. And welcome to the NHL, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't need another retread, coach that's been around for the last 30 years. I need a new modern voice. I like the idea of going to college. I didn't like it before when they did it with Hackstall because to me, Hackstall didn't seem like the kind of guy to ever really fit in the NHL. But
right.
It's like there's a lot of younger options out there right now. I'd rather do that than go for, the last Alain Vigneault or the next Tortorella.
Yep. All right. Whatever. Maybe next year the Flyers will be good. I keep waiting every year. I'm ready to jump on the bandwagon.
Well, if they end up in a top 3 pick, there's maybe even 4 pick. All those guys could be impact players in the next year or 2. So I'd be very interested in being in the top 3.
All right. Well, Delco Steve, have a good weekend, buddy. You had talked about coming in PHLY on Monday?
Yep, I'm game if you are.
Yeah, so Monday morning in studio?
Yep, I'll be there.
Delco Steve will be on PHLY Philly with John Marks Monday morning. Check it out. All right, dude. Have a good weekend.
You too, brother.
See you, everybody.
Peace.
Good night.